Estás viendo Canal América, televisión dominicana para el mundo.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your fears.
Welcome to Time for Truth, and we have a very interesting show for families, for the parents. So many parents want to know, what do I do so that my kids will educate themselves, finish with degrees, have a good future, have a profession, a vocation? How do I get them to do that? Statistics show that unfortunately in college, 40% of the students actually drop out of college and never make it through college. So today we have something very interesting, and we have a special guest. We're very honored to have Mr. Rushi Trivedi, an engineer. If you can put on his pictures, here we go. This is Rushi. Mr. Trivedi is CEO of Preferred Dental and Care Practices. He's a national speaker and consultant, a life coach, and with his wife, Dr. Shilpa Trivedi, they manage Preferred Dental Care, a practice in the top 10% of the dental offices of the United States. The couple have 2 children. Mr. Trivedi earned his civil engineering degree with honors at India's most prestigious engineering university at a very early age of 23. He then proceeded to teach as a professor at the university and then immigrated to the United States, gaining his Master of Science graduate degree and starting software program on Wall Street. There he gained knowledge of dental markets and became a master helping his clients with software programming and financial success techniques. After 7 years, he decided to leave Wall Street, wanted to pursue something different. Rushi and his wife, Shilpa, took over the management of Preferred Dental Care and promptly doubled the office productivity. In 2003, Mr. Trivedi encountered the consulting group MGE Incorporated with Louis Cologne and the recently deceased Greg Winteregg. And MGE used Hubbard Management and Administrative Technology and expanded his office using this technology to a 16-chair, full-service dental office. It's quite large. In 2009, he opened a second office of Preferred Dental Care in Manhattan with 14 operatories. Preferred Dental Care employs over 60 members. Mr. Trivedi has spoken to many government, educational, and private groups and started a business expansion group in Manhattan. His son, Sahil Trivedi, finished his studies and became a dentist at the early age of 23. The couple's daughter, Saloni Trivedi, also finished her undergraduate degree at the age of 18 and is now attending her first year of dental school and will become a dentist at 22, beating her brother. Trivedi wants to change world conditions. He wants to help in the fields of dental health, general health, emotional and ethical issues, improving education, fighting violations against basic human rights, creating drug-free youth and a drug-free world, and to fight against child and human trafficking. He is quite an accomplished entrepreneur and quite a humanitarian. An engineer. If you put Mr. Trivedi up on our screen for our viewers, we want to welcome Mr. Rushi Trivedi to A Time for Truth.
Thank you. I'm here, my friend, and thank you for having me, Ben. You do amazing work. Yes.
You know, it's my pleasure. I get to meet great people like you. I learn more and more. And, you know, I want to get right into it with you because you have so much to share. You've accomplished so much. Absolutely. You've accomplished so much. And I'm sure our viewers are very curious about the impact your parents had and also what motivated you to pursue life as you have.
Yes, very. The parents are foundation of family, children. So when I was growing up, I come from military. My father was a major in Indian Army. So I grew up with a good discipline, but very limited boundaries and a lot of freedom. So my raising was, I had a lot of freedom. How I do my room, what I do with my money, and very few boundaries, like you must respect old elderly people, but not many boundaries. So the way I was raised, I can say there was a lot of faith in me. My father had a lot of faith, and my mother had a lot of faith in me. So when you have faith in your children, they become very sure, very secure, because they can do anything they want because the parents trust them. So that was the foundation. And my father was a quite smart businessman also at the same time. So he had real estate, he was partner in a school, he was trustee in a temple, he was a chairman of the group of houses there. So growing up, I was part of all these activities. I always went with him to different events. So kind of got an idea that world is much bigger than the family. Four of us, me, my sister, my mom, and so that was probably by 12 I realized it's much bigger game than just school or day-to-day life. That was my growing up. So there was an active participation from me with my father. So that was a foundation.
Beautiful story. Makes total sense. You're such a lucky guy. So I want to get into, some other questions because our show today is, as you were talking about, parenting, getting your kids to have a good future. And so I wanted to ask you, how did you accomplish educating your kids so well? Because they both are finishing, he finished dental school, she's finishing dental school, he's practicing as a dentist, and not only well, but so fast.
Yes. So I have 2 masters and I'm an engineer also. So I have almost 4 plus 4, 8 years of college degrees. And my wife, she is a dentist from India. She's a prosthodontist from India, and then dentist from NYU. So she has 9 years of dental school. So we have between us 9 plus 9, 18 years of professional education. And we both quickly realized that's not it. Because majority of the parents, what they do, they outsource the children raising to someone else. So we realized, so when I was 21, I came to America, or 22, I came to America, and I met some successful people with the same level of education. I met a lot of people with the same level. Some people were doing extremely well, and some were not doing extremely well. Same exact degree, same exact background. So I quickly, Shilpa, and I realized that there's something else about life, not only academics, not only sports. So, and also then I have one habit of interviewing, like the way you interviewing me right now. I interview people to find successful actions. So when I was married, I was 25, and I interviewed people who were like 50, 60 year old. And I asked them, what one thing you can change if you go back? They were successful people. They said, wish if we had created a family where our children were our friends. Because they had children coming to the house on weekends or maybe once a month or Father's Day or Mother's Day. So I told my wife that I'm going to have a true product. One is I'm going to train my children life skills, not biology, physics, math, life skill, how to handle their day-to-day life. And I'm going to be creating a relationship between four of us. And we didn't have children, but we had mind how many kids we're going to have. That we will become friends. So that was an idea of having friends, even they are 20, 25, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever age, and have them early on handle bigger problems of life. So that was the foundation, that was a thought process, kind of having a group which can become big.
Very nice. So many parents complain, you know, my kids, they don't listen to me. Or I
Yeah.
tell them something and they do the reverse. How is it that you motivated your kids? Because I think this is the first thing we want to know. How did you motivate them, or what do you feel were the keys? Like you said, it's the successful actions. What were the keys to get your kids close with you so they would follow you and your wife's lead?
Yes. So, as I mentioned, my father, when he raised me, he had a lot of faith in me, a lot of trust, right? So that's the first thing I told my wife, that we will have a lot of trust in our children, even they are 6 months old. So what trust means, we made a decision, we will never say no to them. Never means very rarely no. So we made, let's say my daughter was 6 months or 1 year old. I made the environment very safe, and within the environment, she had total freedom. She can touch anything, she can do anything, she can spill anything. So there was, see, most children are raised this way. It's like, don't do that. Don't touch that. Don't go out, you'll get sick. Take an umbrella, it's raining. Wear your jacket, it's cold out. Be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful. No, no, no. And when they're 22, they're very careful. Very careful. And the same parents will tell their children, hey, do something in life. And the kid says, what the heck are you talking about? You trained me to be careful for 22 years, and now you say do something. So what happens since when you control kids like this, you lose them by the time they're 5 or 6 year old. So now to punish you, they'll do everything reverse, whatever you tell them. This is their way of getting even with you. Like spilling, breaking things, not listening to you. All this comes from the first 5 years of bad control. Yeah. So that's why the kids don't listen to parents, because they're badly controlled. Very badly controlled. And second thing, the parents do not listen to children. Right? The way it works, let's say a child comes home, Mom, would see what I did? The child would say, and what mom said, not now, I'm busy, later. The children's communication, this is the mom, and this is the child, it always fell off. Because mom was so busy. Dad was so busy. So it fell off probably by the time they were 5, it fell off 1,000 times. So there was a communication gap. Now the parents became a provider for the body, shelter for the body, food and stuff, but they were not their friends. They were just a provider. So when the kid becomes 16, they don't need these providers. They can do themselves. So they get out. So that's the reason they don't listen to their parents, because they never receive the communication and they control them so much badly. That's my two. Actually, Ben, I'm writing a book called, eventually it will come out, Lazy Parenting.
You know what? Everything you just spoke about makes total sense. And the way you bring them up, how you treat them, if you treat them as a human being, and totally. But you're an engineer, and I think you're holding out on us here. I'm just teasing, but I think that you must have had exact tools and methods that you utilize, because I can't imagine that just letting them be free, which is fantastic and would definitely work, but what tools did you give them so they could study better? What methods did you utilize? I'm very curious, because I see you also, we're not going to get into your practice today, your business accomplishments, but with your kids, what was it that you utilized?
Yeah. So when my son was 2003, when my son was 8-year-old and my daughter was 1-year-old, I found this consulting company, and they trained that, because I joined my wife a year or two before, so I was looking for help. So I found this consulting company, MGE, great trained dentist in Hubbard management system. And as you probably pointed out, right, an engineer. See, what engineers do, they're really engineers. They're not philosophers. You do A, B happens. You do C, B happens. It's not like you do A and possibly B might happen, but C can happen too, or D can happen also. That's philosophy. So Mr. Hubbard's management system is it's a mechanics. It's a technology. So Mr. Hubbard laid out exact steps for every single thing in business, in life. So one of the things he laid out, how to study. And I tell you one thing, I'm a straight A student. My wife is a gold medalist dentist in India. But I don't remember anything from my engineering college. I studied, I go to exams, I vomit the words, I get my test results, and I go next class. But I never understood, never understood the whole thing. But I was good at cramming and memorizing stuff. So Louis Cologne, who is a founder of MGE, put me to do this course, training called Study Skills. And I told Louis, listen, I have 9 years of college. I'm a businessman. I don't need this shit. I mean, this training. I said, no, listen. I spent one day, they were in Washington, D.C. that time, Virginia. And I was blown away. So what the hell just happened? How come I never knew how to study this formally? Exact science behind study. Oh man, my wife and we were just, in one day we were blown away. So Mr. Hubbard developed study technology. And every single student, whether they're studying or running a business or raising a family, faces the same 3 barriers. Shall I talk about the barriers, or they can do the training?
You know what? Go right ahead. I know we're going to have other shows, you and I, but go ahead and continue. We have time.
Yeah. So it's very simple. The training takes 2 or 3 days. right? The whole course, it's called Basic Study Manual. And there are three barriers. The first barrier was lack of mass. I don't know the exact number, but lack of mass, where you study without having, let's say you're studying about the phone. Oh, this hand. You're studying about the phone and you don't have the phone with you. So that's lack of mass. Or second was too steep a gradient. You're trying to learn calculus, but you don't know 2 plus 2 is 4. And the most important barrier, which was mind-blowing, was misunderstood word. I mean, this is unbelievable. I'll tell you how. Let's say, I'm talking to audience. If I tell you, this is Babala, and then Babala went to Africa, and he made money in Africa, where is your attention stuck on word Babala?
Right.
Anything after the word Babala which you didn't understand was lost. And that's what happens in school, classic. Babala means boy or something, yeah, in Hindi.
I see.
So,
You know, I want to make a comment as you're speaking here, because you brought up some very interesting point with this lack of mass. So many courses that I did myself, where you got so many words thrown at you, you didn't know what it looked like. You didn't know what to give a simple example, if it was an airplane, if it was a cell in the body, if it was some kind of tool in Home Depot, and then the gradient or the steps were so high, you'd go into that classroom. I remember studying in college histology, and the professor from Argentina got up there, and if his accent wasn't enough, then he started throwing all kinds of words. By the end of that thing, and the gradient that he gave it to us as, I was totally confused. So it makes total sense to me. So continue with these three barriers, Mr. Trivedi. Go ahead.
yes. So actually, that day I made a decision that I will not hire any single staff team member in my office without training on the study skills. So I got trained as a trainer with MGE, and I had 7 team member that time. I trained everyone in study skills. And the word they use in study skill, clearing the word. What is clearing the word means you have word Babala, you look up in dictionary, see what it means, use in sentences and all this. There are several steps in a training pack. And once you clear the word, you know exactly how to apply, how to use the word. So I'm going on the business side. We are a dentist, so every single staff member cleared the word tooth, dentist, tongue, perio, the gums, disease, and I spent 5 days in each team member clearing words, doing the demo, doing this. And man, I would hire a person who never worked in dental office. In 4 weeks, what they know about dentistry is equal to 2-3 years of some other offices. Man, in 4 weeks, I have my staff trained as if he or she worked 2 years somewhere else. And when you know, you can control. So the study skills, we trained one of the oral surgeon in 2004. We hired him to do work for us, and it was a rule now in my office that everyone must study before it's part of the first training pack before even the policy. So he gets very upset. He's 48-year-old oral surgeon, and he comes to me and says, "What happened, doc?" I said, "Why the hell nobody told me about this training when I was in oral surgery school?" He was so blown away that his child was 6 or 7-year-old. He brought the child and had him do the course too.
Wow.
So my daughter was 1, and my son was 9 when I found this 8 and 1. Yeah, when I found this technology, Shilpa, my wife, and I made a decision. We will never talk to our children without clearing words. That was the foundation for my children.
Amazing.
Every Saturday, we'll have a session. We sit down, me and my two kids, and we clear words, responsibility or manners, or you name it, whatever word comes up. So that's where they become very highly skilled in life skills. Yes, go ahead, Doc.
You know, it makes total sense because, as you said, I had the same thing. I got a lot of honors graduating. I was a valedictorian in my dental school. But it's interesting, dental school innately employs these techniques you're talking about because you have the theory and then you have the clinical side where you apply it and you realize what the instruments look like. And it's interesting because I became a very good dentist. But when I go look back and I look back at my college education, and like you, I got great grades. But if you were to ask me something afterwards, how to apply it or how to use it, I had no idea. It was like memorizing. So let me see if I get this right. So what you're saying is you taught your kids freedom, how to understand, also how to study so they could clear up things, so they were less confused, so they were more, see, sometimes you see people and they're very alive, or they're there. It made them more alive. Is that true?
Yeah, made them more alive. My daughter, like I taught her.
Rushi, I'm sorry, I just want to let you know, we're coming to the end of the show, and I'm sure the parents out there and the viewers are so excited, but we're coming to the end, and I want to give you a chance to make a concluding remark on all of this, of what we've spoken about. We can continue it another time if we need to, but yes. What would you like to say in conclusion for today?
So, children are future of civilization. And if you do not raise children who can take responsibility, who understand, we are doomed. So my concluding remark is take active interest in your children. Besides academics, sports, and songs and dance and something, you communicate and teach them real life skills. Real life, how to clean house, or how to go do the grocery, or kind of exchange with the family. So you treat them day one as an adult. And then just know one thing, only difference between parents and children is a lack of data. And the parent's job is to provide data, not the decisions. Let the child decide. And if you do that, that's not called lazy parenting. Majority of people are lazy parenting because they give the data and the decision. That's lazy. It's easy. That's my remark. That don't be a lazy parent. Be an active parent.
Well, you know what? It's been a great show. I want to thank you for having been on the show.
Yes, sir. It was fun.
We had a good time. If I invite you back, and I have to have your wife because she sounds like a juggernaut, will you come back?
Yes. She will.
Okay.
Yes, she'll come back. Yes.
Okay, so, you know, for a time for truth, I hope all the parents out there can utilize this, find this Hubbard study technology, utilize it online. You can find him. And thank you so much for tuning in. Till the next time, this is Dr. Fialkov. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your feet